more, but it's so absorbent, you can use less, so it's always worth it.
Now, what did we learn about using less?
You gotta roll it back, everybody.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
Majesty is a premium health and wellness tea line focused on bringing delicious yet healthy tea blends to the community. Filled with an abundance of vitamins and antioxidants, we work to blend teas with exotic spices and fruits to produce scrumptious and wholesome beverages. So check us out at mymajesties.com. That's MyMajesties.com. My Majesties, an Urban Passport member.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food? Like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service with Slow Burn. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge featuring a meticulous curated collection of premium cigars. It's more than a mobile lounge. It's an environment and an experience rich in history, luxury, and personality. An elegant extension of any celebration occasion. It's the perfect escape and meeting place, a space where you can relax or enjoy a shared passion. Have Slow Burn plan your next big event, or before you are planning to celebrate your win over your athletic rival, you can shop our collections at www.slowburnwaco.com.
But if they want to tab, I'ma do the dab, yeah.
You see, Head & Shoulders has scalp shield technology, protects against flakes even between washes. It's never not working.
Kind of like us. We're never not working. Number 15?
That's my rub.
Ooh, nice.
Never not working.
Never, ever, never, ever not working.
Welcome, everybody, to Juneau, Alaska.
I don't like this one.
Me neither.
Let's get out of here.
Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders scalp shield technology.
Now, you can live in Texas and not have a good red meat blend. Texas Cowboy Dust is designed for steak and other red meats. It's out to be my most popular spice blend, made with onions, peppers, ground mushrooms, pink salt, and other spices. Texas Cowboy Dust also goes great with chicken, pork, vegetables, and adds a restaurant-quality sheen to gravies and sauces.
With your bad self. That's my joint.
I thought you were about to do the intro. I like, go ahead, Kelvin, with your bad self. Go ahead and drop that
go on
intro,
with your bad self.
Hey, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Go ahead, try me. I might do it.
Hey, I'm gonna sit here and wait for it. Go ahead. Get us going. Come on, Kelvin. Got you all hyped up with the song.
Boom, 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 boom. With your bad self.
Welcome to another episode of the O&G Strike Zone. Brian Fulford, Kelvin Rozier, Kofi Hemingway, your resident Rattlers, dropping you the best information on Florida A&M University athletics and culture, recapping the past week of activities from the highest to Seven Hills, all of the teams that we love, our coaches that we love, just the atmosphere and the vibe of all the things that make Tallahassee, Florida, and Florida A&M, which sits on the highest of Seven Hills in Tallahassee, Florida, such a beautiful place to be. We're just bringing in, and we just adopted many new Rattlers, and there's a lot of excitement up there in Tallahassee. So it's good to be in our home studios. We are part of the Black College Sports Network. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at O&G StrikeZone. You can also find our show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app, which you can find on Google and Apple Play Store. Just search My JBN, My BCSN. And, of course, if you want to send us an email, any questions that you want to send them to ongstrikezone@gmail.com. You may want to send in some questions today because we got a great show today. We got a lot of positive things to talk about. Our baseball and softball teams are on fire. They're on fire right now. And we'll share some news that just came out, some breaking news, awards coming to a pair of Rattlers on the diamond. And then coming up in the second hour, at the top of the second hour, we're going to talk to the head ball coach himself, Coach Willie Simmons, will be joining us. So we will get a chance to kind of talk about the spring game from our perspective, and then we'll get to hear from him and get his thoughts. So shout out to everybody that's just joining in. You're watching us on YouTube. We appreciate you. Make sure to hit that like button. If you're not subscribed already, go ahead and do that. And if you're on Facebook watching us, thanks for tuning in. Hit that like button as well. Go ahead and share the show on your timeline. Let people know that the O&G is on. Kelvin, have you de-thawed from this past weekend? It might still be cold in Tallahassee, but how you doing, my friend?
No, the weather's much better, man, and I didn't freeze, man, but it feels a lot better today, man. I'm sorry you came up and you had to endure those winds and those conditions, man. It was straight trifling. It was unacceptable. I agree. But Jack Frost did his thing, and we made it through.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Kofi Hemingway, how you doing, my man? You got any songs you gonna sing for us today?
Sing? No.
Yeah. Okay. I just figured you be
but
sharing
if the
them
spirit
golden
hits
mics.
me, I might go ahead and belt one out. I might go ahead and knock one out. But
Sense
right
of
now,
chocolate. Sense of chocolate. That boy can sing.
That boy can sing, boy. I'm not gonna lie, boy. You and Scotty, if you guys have not had a chance to catch Kofi and Scotty on the Afterglow on Monday, I about ran off the road when that boy talked about what when he said what sound does a camel make. Boy, the sad part is I thought it, and then when he said it, I almost ran off the road. I said, "Holy cow!"
Oh God!
I said, "Yeah." So you guys have a good time on that show. Check that out Monday, part of the Off Script channel on YouTube. Kofi does a great job there with Scott. A very fun, entertaining show. So encourage you guys to check that out on Monday nights. Always lively conversation. So good to have you guys with us. And so let's get into, obviously, the we can get into talking about the orange and green game because that's what a large portion of this show will be dedicated to. But we got to start with baseball because anytime we get a sweep of those raggedy cats in Daytona, has to lead. That has to lead the show. So I say that with all love as part of the rivalry, of course.
I don't.
I
say it with all realness. Raggedy.
Yes. So, the Rattlers go into a series in which we are essentially one game behind. Bethune and Alabama State were tied for first in the SWAC East. We go into that series in Daytona, and we took 3 from them. And I'm shocked just from the standpoint, I told you I was hoping to get 2 out of 3. I did not, for the life of me, anticipate. I mean, look, once you got the first 2, you're like, okay, we got to go ahead and finish the sweep. And it concluded with an epic, 13 inning? An epic 13-inning finale to get the sweep. So, I mean, outstanding job by Coach Shoup, that entire roster. They have really turned their season around, and I will share with you. I just felt so inclined to kind of do some deep diving into this baseball season because it really has been 2 seasons. I mean, you go with where this team was for about the first 3 weeks of March, and then the last 3 weeks, 2 different teams. So, Kelvin, we'll start with you, go around the horn, so to speak, and start with you on the baseball team getting the sweep over Bethune this weekend.
Well, so first of all, we're contenders, man. We're contenders to win the East. We're contenders to win the tournament. And the main reason for that, pitching. It's shocking, man. The runs, and I know you got some of these breakdown too. So I'm not gonna give them a breakdown now. I'm gonna stick with just the Bethune series. But we gave up 5 runs in 3 games. A shutout, we gave up 2, and we gave up 3, while averaging 5.5 runs a game. So, and if you look at our last 9 SWAC games, there's 2 outliers to that, where we gave up I want to say 8 runs in a game that won like 12-8, and we gave up 6 runs, I think, to somebody. But outside of that, we have about 3 shutouts. We have a couple of 1 and 2 run games. Our pitching has been phenomenal, and our hitting has just jumped, man. I mean, we were under, as a team, we were under 200 at one point during the season early, and now, man, in SWAC play, man, we just killing it. So the team has found their stride, their confidence. They have a solid rotation too, so they know who they weekend starters are. And then we come back and play a midweek Tuesday game again against a team that put up 15, 16 runs on us the first time we played them. And we lost. We ended up losing, but it was 4-3, and we had opportunity to tie it or win it late. So against a team that's 26-5, by the way. So we are a good baseball team, and we're playing good baseball at the right time of the year. And now we go on an 8-game home stretch. You know, our next 8 games are at home, so we got a chance to really create some separation. So that's all I'll share for now.
That's a good point. I just noticed that we've got the weekend series with Jackson State coming up, then a midweek game against South Florida USF, and then another series against Alabama A&M. Kofi, we'll go around the horn. Your thoughts on our baseball team?
Hey, man, we're cooking with fish grease, as they say. Cooking with nice hot fish grease with some mullet in there, some catfish. We're doing a good job right now, but, you know, you want to peak towards the end of the year. So this streak right here is nice. I remember our basketball team had a nice little streak going, and everybody got really excited. And we lost that momentum kind of quick. I know. So let me finish my statement. Thank you. My point is, the only thing that's really going to matter is how we're playing at the end going into the tournament. So the good thing is we are going to be at home, but I want to see us just continue to build to sustain the momentum that we have. They played well, even in a loss against Mercer on yesterday, you know, which was a winnable game. And it's good to see that they closed that gap, especially with the way that Mercer beat us at the beginning of the year. But this is definitely an opportunity for this baseball team to bring another SWAC title to the Highest of Seven Hills.
Yeah, for sure. Just to kind of set for people so people know what the standings are as of today in the SWAC East. We are 9-3 in conference play, sitting just one game behind Alabama State. And of course, our three losses have come to our three conference losses have come to Alabama State. They have also beaten us one time at the beginning of the year. So when you look at our 15-19 overall record, that's 4 losses to Alabama State. So I know we will be looking forward to that series when it does come around. I think we will be I think we are a different team, not will be. We are a different team. Bethune-Cookman's in third at 7-5. Then you have Jackson State at 4-8. Valley and Alabama A&M are both 3-9. Over on the west side of the SWAC, Southern is 9-3 after getting a weekend sweep. Prairie View is 8-4, tied with Grambling at 8-4. Then they have Texas Southern at 6-6, Arkansas Pine Bluff at 4-8, and Alcorn is 1-11. Players of the week just announced as of this afternoon. Hunter Veets was the SWAC Player of the Week, or excuse me, the Pitcher of the Week, and Grant Roll, I want to say that's right. Roll. I don't know. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm sorry, Grant. Rowell. Sorry about that, Grant. Grant with the earning hitter of the week nominees, and for Hunter, listen to the stat line on Hunter against Bethune in the opening game of the series. 8 innings pitched, no earned runs, 10 strikeouts. And what's crazy is that's the second consecutive outing similar to that. In the series before, which was, I guess, was that the Alabama A&M series, he went 8 innings, 0 earned runs, and 11 strikeouts. And he opened the Valley series where basically our season turned around on March 25th. He opened that series up, 6 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts. So essentially he has only given up 1 earned run in the 3 series, and he won all 3 of those outings. Current record is sitting up at 4-3 overall. As for Rowell, in 4 games, he tallied 7 hits, a run, 2 doubles, a home run, and 9 RBIs. He also had a key RBI double in the to give FAMU a 2-0 lead in the series finale against Bethune. His batting average right now is .368, a slugging percentage of .632 this past week of competition. So the bats have awoken, to say the least. What are some of the numbers that you've done? Because I think you and I have done some similar digging here. Kelvin, what are some of the things? Let's start with what are some of the numbers that you've come across? And I want to start first with that stretch from the beginning of March, because that's where from the beginning of March 2nd, starting with that 17-0 loss to Florida, that's where we ended up going on a streak of losing 13 of 14 games, which included we lost 3 out of 4 to Ball State. We got swept by Stetson, got swept by Alabama State. We lost a midweek series, not only to Florida, but to UCF. Lost a close one to North Florida, and we lost to them actually twice on two different games. But that was a 14-game stretch. So what out of that stretch, what are some of the things that you came across in that stretch, Kelvin?
The big thing for me was how many runs we were giving up. Mercer, the first 2 times we played them, we gave up 15 runs and 14 runs. We had several games where, Florida included, where we gave up double-digit runs. Even against Alabama State, we were giving up 7, 7, and 6, I believe. Everybody we played, except for Stetson one time where we lost 2-0, we were giving up a lot points. So we just didn't have that pitching. Now, what you pointed to with Hunter Vitz is that it appears that we have a number one starter, uh, a shutdown, a reliable number one starter. So we starting off series 1-0. I mean, not only are we winning, but he's dominating. You look at the strikeout numbers; he's only giving up one hit in 2 of those games. Um, he's just lights out and setting the tone for the series is on the weekend. So what stands out to me from the early part to now is we stopped giving up. I think we were averaging somewhere around 9 runs a game. We were giving up when we were going through the losing streak. And as I pointed out, over these last 9 SWAC games and out of conference games, I think our average is more closer to about 3, 4, and what skews it is like I say 2 games where we gave up 8 and 9, I believe.
Yeah, well, so you brought up the pitching side of things and that defensive side. I went and looked at the batting. The batting, these are some of the numbers that we had at that time. So we only had 2 games in which, and this is that 14-game stretch. We only had 2 games in which we had 10 or more hits. And I mention that because you'll see that juxtapose that against what we do later in the year. But we only had a total of 77 hits out of 415 at bats. That's a 186 batting average over that stretch. We got shut out in 4 games, meaning we did not score a run in 4 games. In total, we only scored 33 runs. And so that was that losing streak. Now, let me juxtapose that with what we have done since. In the last 12 games, which includes 9 conference games, right? 8 of the 12 games, we have had 10 or more hits. We have pitched 2 shutouts, and in 8 of the 12 games, including those 2 shutouts, we have allowed 3 or less runs. We have scored 89 runs over the course of these 12 games, and we are hitting 307, 140 hits. So we've nearly doubled up our hit production in that 12-game stretch. And then, of course, as you mentioned, Hunter Vitz, we've seen what he's done. But let's not forget DJ Wilkerson. DJ Wilkerson has come away with 2 of his 3 games that he's won. He pitched 6 innings, only gave up a run, struck out 6 against Valley, pitched 6 innings, gave up 2 runs, struck out 7, had a no decision against Alabama A&M, and then against Bethune, he went 6 2/3, only gave up a run, struck out 10, and won that contest. And then Kellen Fox is the 3rd member of that big 3, and he's usually the Sunday closer or the Sunday starter. He's actually 1-0 with 2 no decisions, but he's gone 7 innings against Valley, 8 innings against A&M. He only pitched 4 2/3 against Bethune, so I don't know if anything's going on there, but essentially he gave up no runs, 2 runs, and 1 earned run. And so that's the starting pitching on the weekend. That's what you're getting from the big 3 of Vitz, Wilkerson, and Fox, and it has made all the difference in the world right now. And then one of the things that you talked about, Kelvin, was those midweek games. When I went back and looked at the numbers, those are those games where he's throwing in multiple pitchers.
Right.
For example, against Jacksonville, we had 7 pitchers in a 12-inning ball game. Against Florida, we had 7 pitchers in a 9-inning ball game. Just the other day against Mercer, we had let's see, what do we have? Actually, we had a guy, Sean Hust, win actually 7 2/3. So that was a little bit unusual. But he gave up 4 earned runs, really like in the early parts of that game, and didn't really give up too much after that. So Hust has really looked good. And then, of course, the batting, Rawell has looked good. The batting numbers are just awesome right now. And so that's sort of what's really been impressive. Kofi, any did you go deep diving on the springboard there into these baseball stats? I don't know if you like to nerd out on baseball stats like I do.
I'm not a nerd when it comes to stats, but because all I really care about is the W, and all I'm really looking for is really the tournament. What I will say is, just like any other sport, unforced errors is what will ultimately decide it. So if you can cut down on your errors and cut down on the runs and the little silly mistakes that you make and increase your productivity on the offensive end, you're going to have good results. And confidence is a major factor in terms of how you play. That success breeds more success. You end up finding a rhythm, and that confidence, of course, carries over from game to game. These guys are believing that they should win these SWAC games when consequently they are doing that. They're in a rhythm. The energy level's up, and you see that with the wins that they're getting across the board. Now, obviously, they have to solve the whole Alabama State puzzle, but I believe that they will at the end, and I'm looking forward to us, again, bringing the championship trophy back to Tallahassee.
Just in case anyone is familiar, and I don't know, can you guys recall how the MEAC format is? But I think the SWAC format is, if I want to say, I want to recall Coach Shoup talking about this as well. The SWAC format for the tournament is a little bit different than the MEAC in that it's a double elimination up until the championship game. So, obviously you get two opportunities, just like in the College World Series or whatever. But when you get to that championship day, it's one game and done. And I know, anybody who pays attention to what happened in the SWAC baseball season this past spring, Southern ended up beating Jackson State off of one hit, one play in the 8th or 9th inning. And Jackson State, who rolled, they hadn't lost a game, if I'm not mistaken, in the tournament. And so that's the one thing that makes you nervous in a one tournament.
They didn't lose a game all year.
Correct. It was undefeated
game all year long.
Right. And so the one game that they did lose, it cost them a bid to the tournament, to the NCAA tournament. And so that's the only thing that kind of makes you nervous. Obviously, you don't think about those kind of
nervous
things.
about some stuff. Stop getting nervous. Every time I
I'm with Kofi.
Cookman make you nervous. Just whatever. Cut that nervousness out. It's ridiculous.
That's right. Rattlers, we ain't nervous.
All right.
We strike.
That's why I got you. That's why I got you too. I'm gonna be the nervous Nelly, and I'll let you two talk me off that ledge. So that's just the nature of. I know that's just the nature of the beast, I guess, from over here. So again, the schedule is favorable.
Sound like a Coke fan.
Oh, well, see, now that's what it is. See, if anything, it's my years of living on the edge with Peyton Manning in the playoffs. That was so unnecessary, Kofi. I hate you. But anyway, it's all love. That was deep. That hurt. Jackson State's coming up this weekend. That's actually starting Thursday. So tomorrow, because obviously it looks like they're trying to front end the schedule. They don't want to play on Easter. So the schedule is actually Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So Thursday is a 5 p.m. first pitch start, then Friday, and Saturday is a 1 p.m. start. And I think that'll give Jackson State time to get back home for Easter and all that good stuff. So if you can get out to Moore Kittles Field, do that. We got to bring down them Tigers, and that'll be good to see what we can do. And it's a good home stretch. You brought it up. It's a 7-game stretch. Well, actually, we're in an 8-game stretch. Lost the first one to Mercer, and then we go from there. All right, let's do this. Let's take a break, fellas. Come back. Let's get into. We can either talk about softball or we can get into this orange and green game coming up at the top of hour 2. Make sure you get tuned in. Coach Willie Simmons will be joining us at the top of hour 2. And so we'll probably get into our breakdown coming up here in this segment or the next prior to Coach coming on. And so we want to hear from you guys in the chat rooms. Let us know your impressions of the orange and green spring game. Who stood out offensively? Who stood out to you defensively? So we'll hear about more of that on the other side. You're watching the O&G Strike Zone. We'll be back in just a moment.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
Vanilla smoked sea salt seasoning is for seafood. The tarragon and fennel bring out the natural sweetness in seafood. I also use it in rice dishes, on yams, asparagus, blueberry pancakes, and believe it or not, chocolate chip cookies. Vanilla smoked sea salt adds a salty and savory component to sweet dishes that create a symphony for the tongue.
Bounty versus the old family dish towel. Drying with a fresh sheet of Bounty leaves your hands cleaner than a used dish towel that can carry and redistribute food residue. So ditch the dish towel for better hand hygiene. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Oh, that spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat. Ooh, yeah, that's nice.
Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on?
Sure, it's wireless.
Pick something we all like.
Okay, hold on.
What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password?
Buick Envision 2021.
Oh, you should pick something stronger. That's really predictable.
That's a really tight spot. Don't worry, I used to hate parallel parking.
Me too.
Hey.
Really outdid yourself.
Yes, we did.
The all-new Buick Envision, an SUV built around you, all of you.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Welcome back to the O&G Strike Zone. Brian, Kelvin, Kofi. Shout out to everybody watching us on YouTube and Facebook. See a few familiar names in there. Shout out to Tamara T, always coming in. Kenneth Rozier might be related to somebody we know. Mary 305 is always in the house. Kendrick Hayes, man, thank you for coming in and joining us. Will Davis also coming in. Anybody, Montre Bennett, there he is. All right, waiting on you. I'm sure there's a few other people on Facebook as well that coming in. I don't know if you guys are on Facebook, anybody you see on Facebook. I'm usually tuned into YouTube, so it's kind of hard for me to see who's on the Facebook feed, but feel free to shout out anybody you might see on our Facebook feed. Shout out to, I know folks will be kind of coming in as the show gets going. Again, top of hour 2, Coach Willie Simmons will be joining the show. So if you got any questions that you want to know from Coach, send us an email, ongstrikezone@gmail.com. Don't just think you can put them in the chat room and we'll see it. You can try, but ongstrikezone@gmail.com. I promise to pull up and open up the that before too long. Let's get into softball because softball team was red hot coming into today's contest against South Florida. They had won 5 in a row, including a sweep of Jackson State at home on, let's see, this would have been Tuesday night. They got a walk-off double by Janae Mobley to beat Jacksonville University. A 3-run walk-off double. Let me correct that just to add some drama to that. After FAMU had fallen into a 4-0 hole. And so beating first place Jackson State over the weekend was huge. That was huge for the weekend. Kelvin, your thoughts on softball? I guess we should mention the fact that today's contest against South Florida did not go. The streak kind of came to an end, but the ladies are still playing some good softball at this point in the year.
Yeah. So we only had one other 4-game winning streak when I went back and looked at the schedule and the results. To have a sweep against Jackson State, who was in first place in the East, and then to come back and follow that up with a very solid win against a solid program in JU, and we scored, I believe, 5 or 6 runs in the last 5th, 6th, and 7th inning to pull that game out. So in walkout fashion. So we showing grit. We showing Rattler tenacity, and hopefully we can keep it. We can keep it going. We can keep it rolling. Much like when the baseball started their streak, my thing was I wanted to see if we would sustain that success. It's a good sign with the win over JU on yesterday, and so we got Alabama A&M coming up, and if we win 2 out of 3, we'll love the sweep.
Yeah. Kofi, you want anything you want to add, or you want me to kind of go through the standings first before you jump in there with softball?
I mean, you can jump in at any time. Really for me, the team has had the energy all year long. They've been bringing that energy all year long. They went through a lull where, of course, again, when you play the tough teams that our team played at the beginning of the year, we knew going in that it was going to be tough to get some W's. But once we got into conference play and found a rhythm, it was only a matter of time before these girls started to, again, build that confidence and get that Rattler swag back. And that's where they are right now. And again, I'm just waiting for this tournament to see how we're going to really perform, because that's really what it's all about.
The standings right now in the Eastern Division of the SWAC, we are sitting at 8-7 in conference play. Tied right there at 8-7 with Alabama State and Jackson State. Bethune-Cookman is sitting 1 game above all of us, those 3 schools, at 9-6. 1 game behind us is Mississippi Valley State. So 5 teams sitting within 2 games of each other. So, and this weekend we play Alabama A&M, who is 4-10. They're in the bottom and the cellar of the division. So no game, we're not going to say it's an easy game, but I like our chances if we
Did they beat us before?
We won 2 out of 3. They beat us 1 time up there.
Okay.
We won 2 out of 3.
Okay. So we have the doubleheader on Friday, 1 and 3 o'clock, and that game is, I think, is that a home? I think that's a home game.
Yes.
That is. It looks like, yeah, it's home. It's home.
Yes.
So this is a home series, and then Saturday at noon. So this is an awesome weekend to get into Tallahassee. I mean, with the fact that it's Easter weekend, you got an opportunity to watch a big baseball series, a big softball series. And I'll tell you what, if you haven't been to a softball, the chatter, this is what I love about softball. The chatter in the box is outrageous. And I'm telling you, our girls they had a chant where I'm gonna try to do this justice, because I'm watching, I'm listening to Jackson. Jackson State had no chatter.
Don't put that Indiana on it now. I don't need that Indiana white boy weak stuff. If you're not gonna put the stank on it, don't do it.
They
had do it. Do it. Do it. We won't Brian. We won't Brian.
They had one girl that would say, Who let the dogs out? And the whole box would go root, root. Who let the? I mean, it was just slow. It was awesome, man. I'm telling you what, it was just who let the dogs out? Root, 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 root. I said, holy cow! And they were in unison. And all the while, I just kept watching for Jackson's no chatter. No chatter about Jackson State. I don't know if it was because we were in their tail or what, but it was just no chatter over there. So, that was awesome to see. That our girls there was chatter the whole game. Didn't matter if we were up, down, whatever. That is a fun atmosphere, and so I'm just going to encourage you guys to go. I don't know the whole science behind the chatter, and I don't know if you have a designated. I don't know when you practice that stuff. I mean,
you normally have like a song leader or a chant leader on your team. Somebody that's going to lead it and get it started off, like the deacons at the Baptist church. Hey, child, something like that. And they started off with that, and then everybody knows the following in with the whole lining of the hymn. But my whole point is they have a song leader on the team, so they get it going. You see they doing the bus stop, they doing dances, they doing anything to keep the spirit up. And that's, just something that Coach Wiggins, just really instilled with this team. And that's why they compete at the level that they do all of the time. They've been consistent with it.
And I got a feeling like I've heard people talk about that's why softball in the spring is, in terms of what would you rather watch between softball and baseball, college softball. I gotta imagine that's why you'd rather watch college softball, because it's entertaining as heck. If you've watched a game, you're normally got two boxes that are going at it with different chants throughout the contest, right? But that was awesome. I'm not gonna lie, they hit me with that. When I heard one girl just slowly do that, I just kind of looked like, yo, this is okay. They got me. So that was yeah. We got Pastor Reverend Deacon Kofi in the house, definitely doing his thing. But yeah, this is a big series. Alabama A&M this weekend in the bottom. I guess I should, and then on the other side, I guess I should kind of, while I'm in the middle of talking about the standings, on the other side of the SWAC on the West, you got Texas Southern. They're at 12-3 overall, followed by Prairie View A&M at 9-6. Alcorn is 8-7. Southern's 8-7. And then Grambling and UAPB 5-10, 3-10 respectively. I think you kind of play the East as it is. You don't really cross over, and that's something that it'll be interesting to see how the SWAC addresses in the future. Will they do crossover weekends, or is it too busy to try to do crossovers? Because that is a big disadvantage when you go to the playoffs, or the tournament rather, because the tournament will usually be like East 1 versus West something or other, or East 3 versus West 4. You know what I'm saying? So if you haven't seen the other side play, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? So that's softball. Any final thoughts there? Any other spring sports that we failed to mention here in this part of the roundup, guys? Anything that you want to shout out?
Tennis, the women's tennis team is doing well. They're competing well. It's going to be tough for them to take out Alcorn, but if they can come in with it and find a way to get there, I'm totally expecting them to be at least top 3 in the conference.
And I'll add, going back, I'm gonna jump back to softball real quick. So we're at the end of softball season. We've got 3 more series. We've got the Alabama A&M, we got Valley, and we got Alabama State, and that's it. The softball on. So we need to maximize win as many as possible.
Is the sniper getting him?
The sniper's trying to get you, Kelvin. He's
Is
like
the
hanging
sniper
out
getting
there
him?
trying to get you. Repeat what you were saying because you were chopping in and out there. Let's see if we can get a better signal from you. Repeat what you were just saying there, Kelvin.
So I was just saying, softball season is coming to an end. We got the conference tournament in Gulfport. So we got Alabama State, Valley, and those are our last series of the season. So we need to create some separation these last 3 series, 2 of them at home.
Right. Okay, that's good. 2 of the last 3 at home.
Yeah.
Going back real quick, since Kofi mentioned tennis, the SWAC Championships coming up April 22nd through the 24th in Birmingham. So our season has pretty much come to an end. We are currently tied in 4th with Alcorn and Alabama A&M at 5-4. So Jackson State is unbeaten. Alabama State is 8-1. Only loss coming to Jackson State, I'm sure. Prairie View A&M is 7-2. Probably their only losses have been to Jackson State and Alabama State. So the top 3 is solid, and it's just a matter of what we'll be able to do in that 4, 5, 6. I don't know how they're going to do tiebreakers. We'll have more info on that maybe next week. But again, the following weekend after Easter weekend is the tennis tournament. Let's step away for a short minute, come back, get into some orange and green spring game talk. Coming up at the top of hour 2, Coach Willie Simmons will be joining the show. You guys stay in there. You're watching the O&G StrikeZone.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
I'm attorney Clinton Paris, and Tampa's my community. I grew up here, went to school here, and my wife and I make our home here. What makes Tampa special are its people. So when I represent someone injured in my community, it's personal. Call my office and speak to a real lawyer and not some referral service. I will fight the insurance companies to get the settlement that you deserve. At the law office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being hurt.
Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes. Never not working. Never not working. Never ever not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield, never not working.
For 200 years, Montgomery, Alabama has been making history by people who had the courage to stand up for change. Today, this riverfront city has been reborn, embracing the past and looking forward to the future. From the National Memorial for Peace and Justice to the stage of the Alabama Shakespeare Festival, this is where history was and is made. We are proud to call Montgomery home, and together, we can be the change.
Charmin Ultra Soft has so much cushiony softness, it's hard for your family to remember they can use less.
Sweet pillows of softness.
This is soft.
Holy Charmin. Oh, excuse me. Roll it back, everybody. Sorry.
Charmin Ultra Soft is so cushiony soft, you'll want more. But it's so absorbent, you can use less, so it's always worth it.
Now, what did we learn about using less?
You gotta roll it back, everybody.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
Majesty is a premium health and wellness tea line focused on bringing delicious yet healthy tea blends to the community. Filled with an abundance of vitamins and antioxidants, we work to blend teas with exotic spices and fruits to produce scrumptious and wholesome beverages. So check us out at mymajesties.com. That's MyMajesties.com. My Majesties, an Urban Passport member.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food? Like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
Oh, we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
Welcome back to the O&G StrikeZone. Brian, Kelvin, Kofi here. And we're going to get into talking a little bit about the orange and green game from this past weekend. And hopefully you got a chance to catch our pre-show, and it was cold. Beautiful day, sun-wise, blue skies, but man, the hawk was whipping. So, I mean, trust me, we appreciate you tuning in to watching the pre-show. Lots to talk about here in this contest, and I know some of us are a little more excited about this spring game than others. But so let's just kind of go around the horn and kind of talk about. Let's go with. We'll start it off like this: one or two of the biggest takeaways from the weekend. We'll start with you, Kofi.
The Rattler defense is probably going to be even better than it was this past fall, which is scary. That linebacking core with Isaiah there, and we didn't even have Isaiah Land, who was out because of his surgery, in the game. So that defense is going to be just crazy good. There's so much depth. We've got a ton of DBs. We've got a ton of we've got waves of linemen. And when you have that kind of depth and you can interchange your personnel the way that we can with the speed that we have, it's going to be ridiculous. So that's probably the one thing that gives me great encouragement, definitely going into the fall. The defense is probably going to be even better.
Also, General Hunt was also not playing this spring game as well. I don't know if that's injury related. I want to say I thought it might be from something I heard somewhere on another show, but no telling. Kelvin, your one or two biggest takeaways from the weekend?
I'm gonna give you three. The first one, I'll piggyback off of Kofi. Coach Ryan Smith, Smitty Rock, kind of alluded when he was on our show. The secondary as well as the linebacking core are going to be more athletic and faster. They may not be as big, but they're just as tenacious. And I know we're developing depth, but both orange and green defenses were very active, caused a lot of situations, and it really bodes well. Not only were we without those two starters, which we didn't need them in the spring. They know the defense. We know what they're going to do. It was good to get a look at some of the transfers, but also remember that the 4-star safety Moore is not on campus yet, as well as the DN Cuts 4-star. So we're going to get even more depth and athletic. So I'm very excited about what the potential of this defense. Number two, the kicking game. of course, we knew we got All-American, two All-Americans in the pipeline. So the fact that we know we're going to rely on defense and special teams makes me sleep well at
Kicking
night.
game. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the third thing for me is we done gave all the accolades. Now I'm finna give a concern. O-line. I just think we need a little more talent, a little more length. I think we need more athletic built linemen. So that what stood out to me. We had what scores 12-3 because of the pick and 3 or 4 field goals, and then we scored. There was two touchdowns in the second half. Uh, uh, Tight end Kamari looked game ready. He looked awesome. He looked great. And then Zay, of course, Zay did a Zay thing. Where he just caught a pass in traffic, made guys miss, and took it to the house. So, neither one of those are surprises. But those are my takeaway. I really think we got to get a little more athletic on the offensive line.
I want to. Here's the thing. I want to, and I thought about that as well. But I will tell you, and I will tell you, if you have concerns about the offensive line, don't be so worried about the line from this standpoint. The interception, and as I was watching the film, the replay of the game, and watched the plays a couple times, really you got to give more credit to the defense and really the actual pre-snap read. And here's what I mean by that. The second play of the game, it was either first or second play of the game, where McKay drops back the pass and it's an incomplete pass, right? First play of the game, first play of the scrimmage in the first quarter by O&G. There was a rush, untouched, unchecked, a missed assignment by 23. And that right there caused number 91, Cameron Smith, to get right to the quarterback. If Jennings or McKay picks up the read properly, that opportunity doesn't happen. There were a couple other times when I saw some deflections. There were some corner blitzes. Now, this is what I'll be curious to see. Yeah. How many? Count the number of times during the season you saw corner blitzes. I don't think we had a lot of them. I'll tell you what.
We had safety blitzes.
And I don't know. Forgive me. I don't know if this was a corner or a safety, but Eric Smith, number 8, DB, 5'9", redshirt senior from Norland High School, Miami.
Uh-huh.
That cat is fast, and a couple times early in that first, let me see, was it the first drive, and also a little bit later in the third series, where he blitzed and nobody saw it. It's like one time we shifted the entire protection from the left to the right, and all he did was say, okay, well, you moved everybody. I'm just going to come blitz because there's nobody to pick him up. And he just came right in there unchecked. So, that's one of those things where I got to imagine if everybody's on the same page with where you're supposed to be, because I think this was the green team, because he's on orange. So this is the green team. And I can't remember if it was either Sapp or Howard, but one of the two moved. First off, they moved Pruitt from the left over to the right, and then also the running back in the backfield, which was Coates, he went over from left to right. Well, guess which side the blitz came from? The left side of the quarterback. That happened like 2 or 3 times where Smith got in there. So, it'd be nice to see if we get into that blitz a lot. But I thought there were a couple of defensive linemen who really showed up on when I was watching the tape that I'm really impressed by. And so when we talk about, hey, why did McKay have or not look very good on a few pass plays? Or why did Howard not look good on a couple pass plays? Well, honestly, because they got blown up. The defensive line just basically blew up the offensive coverage. But there were still moments when I saw all of the quarterbacks, Muratovic, Musa, Sapp, all of them. There were moments when they did a good job of moving in the pocket, showed some good poise, even with the pressure coming, and they got rid of the ball. And I think it's always going to be a case of, can you find the right read? So for me, my biggest takeaways, there were a couple guys that I came away really impressed with. The defensive I'm gonna give you two defensive linemen that I think we got to pay attention to this upcoming year. Number 91, Cameron Smith is one of them. 6'5", grad student from Coffeyville Community College from Florence, Alabama. He was number 91 on the green team. He looks every bit of 6'5". Every time they went to a sideline shot, he was the tallest, biggest dude out there. I mean, he looked the part. I mean, 6'5" looks the part when you are taller than everybody else in that huddle, right? So I was really impressed with him early on. Also, another big defensive lineman, number 95, Abu Bangura. He is a redshirt senior from Stockbridge, Georgia, 6'3", 255. He was on the orange team. I thought he did some good things. So, I guess we would have to go back and look at the depth chart and say, where are those guys where were they last year? But I really think those two really showed up. And like you said, add those, if those guys can get some reps into the mix, I think it'll be a good thing. Another defensive player, obviously you guys brought up Isaiah Major, who I'll tell you what, the play in which he got that interception, you should go back and watch what he did on that play, because he created that turnover. He created that turnover because really it was a crossing pattern. It was a crossing route that he really took away one of the receivers and forced another receiver away from what he was supposed to do, and he ended up with a pick. He ended up basically doing a back pedal by 2 yards, picked it off, and he was gone. Obviously, there was a penalty that caused it to come back, but I thought that was a good play by Major. And then one other defensive guy I'll tell you guys that caught me, number 21 on green, Timothy Williams Jr., 6'2" DB, redshirt senior from Dr. Crop down in Miami. I don't know if you saw him, but he got a few deflections. And remember what Coach Smitty Rock was talking about taking away those jump balls that Jackson State got away with us? There's a guy who's going to take that away. At 6'2", I mean, he's running right there with Malachi Wideman and whoever else Jackson State has that they want to throw out there. But that's a guy who I thought could stay step for step with them. Let's go offensive side of the ball, guys, for a minute. Running back situation. Obviously, the big story with the running back situation, Destin Coates. And the play in which he got hurt happened in the second quarter. Really, it was actually sort of I'm going to call it an inadvertent face mask, but the face mask that one of the guys from the Orange caught him with ended up causing him to almost kind of turn his body. And that's where, I don't know what the official report is on the knee. Maybe we'll hear. But I knew it as a minute he was fit to be tied. He was cussing the minute it happened. He was so visibly, I was right there, maybe 20, 25 yards from him when it happened, and I could hear. I text you guys. I told you. I said, "Uh-oh, it's not good. Coach is down." And the minute you start seeing guys go to a knee and praying, that was a tip off right there. Kofi, what are your thoughts on the running backs from what you saw?
Running back was a strength for our team last year, and Terrell Jennings is going to be definitely leading the way. You have McLeod there. Leland Wilhoit, number 3, was actually a star on the scout team last year. I know we didn't see him because just our backfield was just so deep with a number of people. But, even if you go into Eddie Tillman, those guys, Leland Wilhoit came out of the backfield and actually was in position to catch a bomb from Musa. I think I don't know what quarter it was, but that was that was just an amazing play. But Leland Wilhoit was giving our defense fits last year in practice, and he did not play for us last year. But now that he's gotten everything squared away, he's going to be a major factor and a major contributor to our team in the fall. And I'm probably, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I fully expect us to possibly sign somebody else to come in and fill in that little gap, just because, depth is needed. You never know what's going to happen, but running back is a strength. Jennings ran extremely well in the game on Saturday. He's tough. He looks a little bit leaner. He is fast, and he will run you over. So all of those things are contributing factors. Each one of them brings something different to the table, but I like the way it seemed like he was getting 4 and 5 yards every carry he got. So I'm looking for that explosive play, which is what our offense is definitely known for. And we didn't see that on Saturday, but a lot of that has to do with how good our defense really is. So I want to say I'm not worried necessarily about our running backs, but I'm looking for just greater to come from this group.
Kelvin, what's your take on the running back situation?
I'm gonna give my take on offense just in general, and I'm gonna admit that when you started off this segment talking about some are more excited than others, I'm the one that not very excited about spring games, and given the format of this one and so forth, I don't know how much you can take out of it. Because we have a seasoned team with we don't have many holes, so I was able to glean from the everything that what we already know. We're a good team, and it remains to be seen. We got to see what kind of depth that we achieve, the growth in the quarterback and the offensive line. But from an offensive standpoint, I thought that Jennings did run the ball well. Of course, I already mentioned Kamari Young, and we talked about Zay making a play. And outside of that, I mean, if you're looking for something, Maritovich and
Musa.
Say his
they
name.
had
Come on, say his name.
they had a couple of drives, I guess you can say 1 or 2 drives where they made throws and they missed some throws that they should have, and then of course Musa had the interception, which McKay doesn't do. It's interesting that I 3 top quarterbacks, all names all start with M too.
Okay,
But
there you go.
but I didn't, there was no movement for me in terms of the quarterback position. It was a spring game, and my man is still McKay.
That's what
the triple MCs.
That's all you wanted to get that out. That's what you should have led with. That's what you should have led with.
Hey, I'm all about them W's, baby. As Kobe says, it's about the W's.
All right. So see, I did that, Kofi, because while I'm sitting here charting stats and passes and completions, like, I won't tell you that Vertovic completed his first 7 passes thrown. I won't tell you that. I won't even mention that. I won't even mention.
Please
that
don't start on this whole Maritovich thing last year, because you started that foolishness last year.
And we told you. We told you.
This whole
Hold on. I'm just pointing out what I saw in the contest, and then I'm just gonna say the 2 of the best throws, 2 of the prettiest balls were thrown by Musa, which was about a 35-yard pass. Hold on. Again, the pick 6 was no. I'm look. I'm just gonna play that role. The pick 6.
Go ahead, man.
The The pick six was more a product of the rush combined with Isaiah Major really doing a good job of breaking up that route. As I just said, give credit. Major was more of a factor in the reasoning behind that INT than more so Musa.
Throwing off his back foot.
Threw that, yeah, well, he threw off his back foot as a result of the rush. I firmly believe that.
That typically happens with any quarterback. You correct.
Well, right, exactly. What I heard someone else say this: when you get what quarterback looks good when you get rushed? Very few. Even Tom Brady looks normal when you get a rush on him. I will say I just saw somebody post this. Montre Bennett talked about penalties. Now I went through the first 3 quarters. I probably only saw a handful of penalties, to be honest. I thought in terms of penalties, there weren't very many. I thought we actually did a pretty good job in terms of there was maybe 2 false starts. There wasn't a lot of hold. Now, who knows? The officials could have missed a lot of stuff too, so that's possible. But there was like a delayed game. There was a couple of false starts. There was obviously on the run back, there was a cheap shot that somebody put on somebody. That was a penalty after the INT. But it was a rather clean game for the most part. I think, I don't know.
Let me say this. Just really, obviously, when you have your referees, and it's not a whole lot that you can take all the way from necessarily the spring game. But like you said, I would say that that was a focus in the spring with them to try to cut down on the penalties. I will never forget, we had a shutout against South Carolina State, and just personal foul after personal foul after personal foul after personal foul. It was like 4 personal fouls on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go. You said so after your 4th personal foul, I lost you, but now I got you. Go ahead.
Okay. 4 personal fouls. It was just ridiculous. They drove right down the field, and that was the drive that they actually scored on. They probably would not have scored if it had not been. Now, do I think that the personal fouls was very suspect? Absolutely. But
yes,
when you are in the SWAC, listen, they be doing crap shows. They be making up kind of
that wasn't a SWAC school.
Listen, I'm just saying. SWAC and MEAC. MEAC is that close.
Here's what I found.
But the SWAC is on a whole different level when it comes to that raggedy referee.
Here's what I found is real interesting, and I'm bringing this back to the running back situation, because I know if we did lose coach for the year, I don't know that to be true. I feel like I read that somewhere. I don't know, or maybe that was on a tweet. We don't know if that's official or not. But between Jennings,
McLeod,
Will Hoyt, who else?
McLeod,
even a young man that got some time in there.
Trevonte Davis, man.
Well, hold on. Davis is a receiver. We're going to talk about the receivers. I had him dotted as well. He's a receiver who I was really pleased with. He stood out for me. I think he caught one of the touchdown passes. He stood out for me as well. One of the guys that I spotlighted. I'm looking for the other young man, 46, Dalen Hall, from my hometown, Indianapolis. He's a small running back. And, like you said, who I thought about, what happened? Maybe we'll talk about this off air. There was somebody who was missing, a running back that was there last year. I almost said it, but I'm not going to say it. You know what I'm talking about, Kelvin. You shaking your head. Okay, right. Yeah. Where's, because I was looking around like, where is, okay, hold on. I don't see him. But anyway.
Got to take care of some stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And then, then there's Eddie Tillman, the third, who's, I think the running game is going to be okay. I really do. I think.
Look, you want the thing is, let me say this again. It's a spring game, so if you notice, there weren't multiple back sets that you saw on Saturday. There was no real diversity or real.
Kobe, hold on, Kobe. What is it? What is it? Say it one more time.
It's a spring game.
Don't devalue that.
It's a spring game.
Hold
So
on.
listen.
Let's stop that. Go ahead. Stop that, Kelvin.
Listen,
Stop
again, we love football. We love football, right? But at the same time, you know, I saw people from, Mercer's whole football team was at the game, right? There were people from Jackson State there that was spying on our team and trying to get some intel. There was folks from Bethune-Cookman. Seriously, listen now, there were folks from Cookman that were watching the darn spring game. Not to mention the people that were watching on the feed, so you can't show everything that you would normally do. You just want to get a good feel for what's going on, get people in situations, and preferably nobody gets hurt. But as you saw, Rattler Nation wasn't 10,000 people there, but there was more than enough, that shows you that Rattler Nation loves themselves some freaking football. So if you put out there for them to come out there in the wind, the way that it was blowing, with jackets on, I saw LeBron jerseys, I saw a ton of orange and green. The band was there. It was a good day. Coach Simmons had his little blazer on with a little lapel up there on the side and everything. So, it's a big deal, and I'm looking for greater things, but it's just a spring game. So all of the defensive nuances, all of the offensive nuances, all the things that we desire to see, we're not going to necessarily see because it's a spring game. So, it is what it is.
These notes, Kofi, these meticulous notes on every play. You're not gonna devalue my notes that I've been taking, talking about it's just a spring game. The heck with you. We got 6 quarterbacks in the room, Kofi. I'm trying to break this down so that we can, because
trust
people
me,
want to know.
Rattler Nation is excited about football. All you got to do is say football for Rattler Nation, and we in there. We ready, But I don't want us to go away, nitpicking too much just because it's a spring game.
Well, okay, look, I get it. But look, here's the thing. Here's what's the beauty of, and I thought about this as I was watching, again, taking notes of this game. If the traditional 1 versus 1, 2 versus 2, 1 versus 2s, if you go with that traditional format that you're kind of used to seeing a lot of people springs, we probably don't get excited about the emergence of some guys. The 3 or 4 of the names that I spotlighted, I maybe don't get excited about them because you know why? We got to see them work.
That's my darn thing.
Yeah, we got to see them incorporate and work with number ones. You know what I'm saying? You got, for example, Trevante Davis, 6'1", redshirt junior from Flint, Michigan, went Wayne State. If he's not catching passes from Musa, are we as excited about him because we may not get a chance to see him? I think
if you saw his film, if you took some time to look at his film, you would definitely be excited. The kid's a playmaker.
But now that you see him live in orange, with a running sort of with the, I don't know if you want to call it 1A or 1B team, whatever you want to call it. He looked like he belonged out there. He looked good.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. He looked good out there. No doubt. You know what I'm saying? And I just think the format was, I'd be curious to find out why or where Coach came up with it. And also we'll have to ask him about it, how it compared to the scrimmage that they did the week before that was more closed. Because I think that was your more, I don't know what's the word. I don't know if traditional is the right word, but that was sort of the scrimmage that probably, I don't know, if you want to see 1s versus 1s, that was maybe that format, right? Let's do this. Let's take a pause for a moment, guys. Take a break. I think we'll have Coach Simmons with us. We'll double check. So coming up on the other side of the break, we're either going to get into a little more talk on this orange and green game, or we'll have the head ball coach himself joining us on the other side. You're watching the O&G StrikeZone. We'll be back in just a moment. From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High-quality cigars plus personal customer service with Slow Burn. Visit our website, www.slowburn.com. www.slowburnwaco.com. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. It's more than a mobile lounge. It's an environment and an experience rich in history, luxury, and personality. An elegant extension of any celebration occasion. It's the perfect escape and meeting place, a space where you can relax or enjoy a shared passion. Have Slow Burn plan your next big event, or before you are planning to celebrate your win over your athletic rival, you can shop our collections at www.slowburnwaco.com.
But if they want to tap, I'ma do the dab, yeah.
You see, Head & Shoulders has scalp shield technology, protects against flakes even between washes. It's never not working.
Kind of like us. We're never not working. Number 15?
That's my rub.
Ooh, nice.
Never not working.
Never, ever, never, ever not working.
Welcome everybody to Juneau, Alaska.
I don't like this one.
Me neither.
Let's get out of here.
Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders scalp shield technology.
Now, you can't live in Texas and not have a good red meat blend. Texas Cowboy Dust is designed for steak and other red meats. It's out to be my most popular spice blend, made with onions, peppers, ground mushrooms, pink salt, and other spices. Texas Cowboy Dust also goes great with chicken, pork, vegetables, and adds a restaurant-quality sheen to gravies and sauces.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
Vanilla smoked sea salt seasoning is for seafood. The tarragon and fennel bring out the natural sweetness in seafood. I also use it in rice dishes, on yams, asparagus, blueberry pancakes, and believe it or not, chocolate chip cookies. Vanilla smoked sea salt adds a salty and savory component to sweet dishes that create a symphony for the tongue.
Welcome back to the O&G StrikeZone. And Brian, Kelvin, Kofi. Well, Kofi somewhere. There we go. And it's good to be joined by the head ball coach, Coach Willie Simmons, taking some time out to join us. Coach, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing? Good to see everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
All right,
sir.
Coach.
Doing well. Hey, so a lot of excitement, obviously just excitement among just us, but excitement about from Rattler Nation after this past weekend's orange and green spring game. What are your emotions following the end of spring practices and the spring game?
Well, I thought we had 15 productive days. Obviously, coming off last season, there was a lot of momentum, and we wanted to build upon that. You know, we brought in 11 new faces this spring, and was able to good to see those guys come in and show what they were able to do. And so we feel like we've created a lot of depth at a lot of key positions. Obviously, the quarterback room got better with the addition of Jeremy Musa. Unfortunately, at running back, we had an injury in the spring game, and Destin Coates had a pretty significant knee injury. And depending on his recovery, we may get him back near the end of the season. But he should make a full recovery. It just depends on how long. But at wide receiver, Trey Davis coming in, transfer from Wayne State Division II school, but he's as good as anyone we feel as a jump ball and one-on-one guy. And up front, Jalen Goss from Florida State came in and did a really good job. And the defensive transfers, Isaiah Major, Eric Horn, Kamani King, Dre Jones, all those guys, even Zaire Riley, a high school signee from right here in Gadsden County, all came in and made significant impact. So looking forward to getting, the guys back from injury that didn't go through the spring and then seeing how good we can really be. But we're as talented as we've been here during our tenure. So just got to clean up some little things and develop our core identity, develop some leadership. But we think we have a football team that definitely can go out there and compete for not only a SWAC championship, but an outright HBCU national championship as well.
Yes, sir. I think around the board, a lot of people are looking at the depth and the potential, in the ones and twos, and are really excited. A lot of options for you and the coaching staff. A lot of good competition, which I know that you guys are very big on the competition factor, breeding and bringing out the best. Before I give it over to Kelvin, well, I'm curious the format of this contest or the spring game, which I tell you what, after watching it, I thought it brought out, it shined a light on people that maybe we wouldn't have got a chance to get excited about. Where did you get the idea to go with a format like this, and what kind of pros and cons were you kind of weighing in terms of how you were going to make this happen?
Well, anytime we have the depth, we like to structure it the way we did. Have a draft, give the coaches a chance to select players, and allow the guys a chance to play against one another. When you're going through spring ball and even in the training camp, typically offense versus defense the entire time, and that gets a little monotonous. Obviously you learn a lot of tendencies and guys play together. But when you have a spring game format where you can break the teams up, have starters on both sides, also have some backups that's got to get some significant playing time. Like you said, it does give guys like Trey Davis a chance to work with the first team quarterbacks. Because in our traditional ones versus ones, twos versus twos scrimmages that we did prior to the spring game, a lot of his work was with the second, third, or even sometimes fourth quarterbacks. So you really didn't get a chance to see how he would react in there with Rashawn or Jeremy. So really good to do that, and good to see guys have to communicate without that buddy right there with them that they've been communicating with all spring, for 14 practices. And so, it was a great format. We did the draft on that Wednesday, live streamed it, had over 45,000 views. It was a very, very, fun day. Strategy wise, I think the coaches sometimes try to shut some positions out. As you notice, the top three quarterbacks were all on the orange team. The starting receivers were all on the green team. Starting linebackers were on the green team. And so instead of kind of trying to draft for need, it was more so draft to keep good players off the other team. And that strategy obviously backfired for the green team. They had the first pick, and instead of going with the quarterback, which most teams do, they went with an offensive lineman. And then the orange team, strategizing, took Rashawn and Jeremy with back-to-back picks. And so it really kind of left the green team in a position to be forced to take Junior because he was the third quarterback going into the game. But they decided to take Xavier and K-Dot. And so the orange team came back and took Junior. So you had a situation with all the three top quarterbacks coming out of the spring on one team. So as a commissioner, so to speak, I got to kind of try to do some things in the future to prevent a team from getting shut out from a position like that. But it was fun. The guys really got into it. They, as you can see, some of them dressed to the nines to get their names called, and it was a really, really fun day. So we put that together in about a day and a half. Again, so a huge shout out to Vaughn Wilson, Josh Padilla, his team, everybody who had a hand to do with that. But next year we'll plan it a little bit more out in advance, and we're gonna make it a really, really huge event. And because we were the first one I think that I've ever seen do a live stream draft. But all in all, good format, good day. Aside from losing coach, I thought the guys did a really good job, and the day was very, very, very successful.
Go ahead, Kelvin.
Coach, I got about 5 questions for you, but I'm only going to stick with 2 of them right now. So, because of the format, first of all, let me give you my suggestion on the draft, because I love the draft. It was cool and innovative. Make them draft by position. Like you draft quarterbacks, then you draft running backs, then you draft linemen, so forth. Maybe that can balance it out a little bit better so they don't stockpile. All right. Now, the questions. So, question number 1 is, because of the format and everything, and you had people who don't normally work together, what were you looking for? What can you gather from that kind of competition? You know, they did compete. There were some guys that may have not had opportunity that had opportunities and they took advantage of it. But just from your from a head coach perspective, what did you glean? What were you looking for out of that game specifically?
Yeah, well, I really wanted to see the guys compete, like I say, we had really two full scrimmages and even 14 days. We did good on good work every day this spring. And so we had 14 opportunities to see the one offensive line versus the one defensive line, the one receivers versus one defensive backs. And so there's a familiarity, a comfort level that you get when you go against the same guys every day. And so I wanted to see how guys reacted when you look up and maybe you're not beside the starting D tackle that you've been practicing with. The starting left tackle may be with the backup left guard. Because guess what? During the season, that may happen. It's football and things happen. So trying to see how guys react and adjust, to change to something that's uncomfortable for them. So that was one of the biggest things that we wanted to see. And then too, we just wanted to see guys really go out there and compete. And splitting the teams up, I think, gives guys more of an opportunity to play more, on that stage as opposed to the traditional ones versus ones or ones versus twos scrimmage. Because again, when you have six quarterbacks, it's kind of hard to get all six into some type of rhythm, and so it's not perfect. There's no perfect formula, but I thought the spring game format, which we typically try to do, like I said, having enough numbers, and the O line and D line is typically the position that you worry about the most. I did think that the guys did a really good job of adjusting to change and going out there and performing at a pretty decent level.
All right, my follow-up question to that is you have a pretty experienced team. We have some holes and some depth that we got to develop, but we kind of know most of the guys who are coming back. If you had a younger team or you had more holes, do you think you would have went with a similar format?
Um, like I said, we've done it before, and it's really been more contingent on the amount of numbers we have. I didn't
Okay.
really look at it as a whether we're a veteran team or excuse me, or a younger team. Like I said, we got 14 days worth of film to study the rest of the stuff. The spring game is not the end all be all when it comes
Right.
to evaluating our guys. I mean, we evaluated them from the first day of spring practice all the way through. So we
Okay.
probably have close to 800 reps of team that we can evaluate. Excuse me. And so that's what we're going to look. That's what we're going to look at in the off season. We're going to go through all 800 clips and see, which guys performed, which guys got better throughout the spring, and that'll set our depth charts as we go into training camp.
Thank you, Coach. And that wasn't for me. That was for our audience.
Go ahead, Kofi.
Upper Coach. So really with this, with the format, I thought just going back with what everybody was saying, just the draft was just so innovative. I think it just has an opportunity to be something really huge and actually a huge fundraiser for the school and for the program. Because it definitely got people's attention. When you have that scrimmage, I think COVID opened up a lot of eyes in regards to just different possibilities. Do you foresee the day when we would play like one team in a scrimmage in the spring where the NCAA would allow us to play like a West Florida or an Albany State or Tuskegee or whoever, or even say a spring scrimmage against Florida State? Do you foresee that happening sometime in the future? Or
Actually,
is that
I
something
do.
you would like to see happen?
Yeah, no. After last spring, I thought that was a great opportunity for our guys to really experience a game type atmosphere, right? Going against another team, going against yourself every day. Like I said, it gets pretty monotonous. Guys learn each other's tendencies. It's hard to tell whether that the defensive back is jumping that route because he just made a great break, or he knows that receiver can't run by him because he's been going against him every day for the last 2.5, 3 weeks. And so when you bring another team in, it really shows you kind of where you are, and it resonates and still sticks out in my head when we scrimmaged Albany State last year. You know, Albany State's a Division II team, obviously a really good Division II team. They ran through the SIAC pretty good last year, but after the scrimmage, our defensive coordinator kept saying that we weren't ready for the speed of Albany State, and it was baffling because I was like, well, they're not faster than we are, right? They're not bigger, faster, and stronger than we are, but just not knowing what's coming, right? Because based on going against our offense every day, you learn tendencies and you see things, you can kind of anticipate what's going to happen. But when you face another team and you haven't studied them the way that you've studied yourself for over 2 weeks, it does happen a lot quicker, you know? So again, it was a great opportunity for our guys. But there are discussions now about possibly doing a fall scrimmage. The NCAA is contemplating allowing one fall scrimmage amongst teams. And if that goes over, then I think the next step is to do the same thing in the spring. I'd much rather do it in the spring than the fall, you know. But again, I like doing both, you know, have that opportunity in the fall because college football is the only sport where there is no preseason. I mean, you're right out of the gate playing meaningful games. You look at us last season. How much better would we have been going into Jackson State had we been able to scrimmage, you know, Albany State a week before, or West Florida, or even like you said, have a controlled scrimmage against Florida State. So I think those things are on the horizon, and I think they'll happen sooner rather than later.
How about Coach? So really with the whole thing with the Why Not Us, it was so popular last year. It got us a lot of exposure, got the players a lot of exposure. Are there any plans to do like a Why Not Us 2, or it is us going into the fall? Even if, let's say, Paul is unable to produce it, will we do our own documentary with our own separate team? Because I think there's just a lot of momentum just surrounding Rattler football and what we have to offer here at FAMU.
Well, I'd love to. I think it would be a phenomenal opportunity to continue to showcase, you know, what this team is all about, what this university is all about. I've had a couple of discussions with some of the individuals involved in Why Not Us about the possibility of some type of extension, maybe not a Why Not Us 2 or a continuation of last season, but maybe another network picking it up. You know, like you said, if there's a way for us to do it ourselves, I'd love to, because I think it's great exposure. I think it's great for our brand. It's great for our young men, and it gives Rattler Nation and people who maybe aren't familiar with FAMU an inside look into this program, into these young men, and like I said, into this phenomenal institution that we call home. And so, if anyone is interested, we'd definitely be open to the idea of you know, showcasing the season 2. Even if it's in a shorter version, maybe not the entire season, but snippets during training camp. But I think it's a great opportunity for our guys to continue to brand themselves, especially in the age of NILs. As much as we can do to get these guys' names out there, the better it is for our overall program.
How about Coach?
Coach, one of the you've already mentioned we've got a loaded quarterback room, 6 guys, lots of competition there. Let's, you know, if you don't mind, starting with kind of just really Rashawn McKay. What have you seen from him over the spring and his improvement? What do you like as you see his development?
Well, Rashawn's just a guy, you know, who is going to bring it every single day. You know, I love him because, you know, Rashawn's that kid. Obviously, the quarterback's on the rotation, and you know, there may be 5 plays, and then the next guy comes in. Rashawn's the type that if you're not ready for your 5th or that 6th play, and you're sleeping over there, he's going to jump in and take that rep. You know, and if he does something, throws an interception or makes a bad play, I mean, he's standing right in your hip pocket. Coach, can I go back in? Can I go back in? So he's just a fierce competitor. You know, he's one of the toughest, if not the toughest, football players that I've ever really been around. I mean, that kid took some absolute shots last year and continued to pull himself up off the ground and play good football. You know, so he just brings a tenacity to the position. His work ethic is second to none. You see him in the weight room. I mean, he's a weight room warrior, one of our strongest guys. And so again, anything that he lacks in, you know, touch
experience
or football IQ experience, he makes up for it with his hard work, with his heart, and his just competitive spirit. So again, he's a kid that obviously we can win with. He showed that last year, and we have no problems with Rashawn McKay being out by QB1 if that's the outcome coming out of training camp.
Okay. So what take people behind the scenes, and obviously you having been in this role that these guys are in, I'm fascinated at the quarterback position in college, really everywhere, because it's the only position in sports where only one guy can get on the field at a time. You think of every other sport, there's always a second guy, a backup, or another position. There's multiple, but there's only one. Only one. There can only be one QB on the field at one time. So obviously, these guys are all competitors. What's the pitch? What do you say to these guys that keep six quarterbacks in the room and you don't have a lot of guys running off to the transfer portal? I mean, that's the one thing I got to say about your program. We don't see a lot of guys running off into the portal because they're unhappy. And I know the grass isn't always greener, but what is it that you are saying? And let people know behind the scenes what it's like in this role for these six guys.
Yeah, no question, and that's one of the toughest things about being a quarterback. You hit it right on the head. Typically, one guy's going to take the majority of the snaps, and if you're number two, so I was saying you're a wrist injury, you're one ankle roll away. If you're the number three guy, you're two ankle rolls away, and so forth. So, you just try to really create a room of competition. Where guys are competing hard every day. But the biggest thing is you try to create a close group. A group of guys that support one another, that really care about one another, and that's what we have. You see Rashawn right there. Jeremy throws a touchdown in practice. Rashawn's the first one in the end zone celebrating, right? Because his competitive nature, he wants to beat the defense. And if that's Jeremy beating the defense, or Junior, or Ja'Cory, or LeJean, or Sapp, Rashawn is excited because we're getting to beat the defense, and so that just shows his character. Same thing with Jeremy. All those guys are the same way. And so when we watch film, we're trying to help each other. We're watching film together, being, supportive of one another. And that's what you just try to preach. You try to preach a close-knit group. They understand that at that position that, hey, we got to compete every day to show that we're capable of playing. And typically, like you said, one quarterback does play. But if we come out of training camp and two guys show that they can lead us to victory, we have to play two guys. It's happened before, and it's not out of the realm of possibility that it may happen again for us. So, but you can't be in a position where playing time dictates how you work, and that's a life lesson that we tell these guys. That word "fight" for us, it's ingrained in our DNA. Our job is to compete at a high level, regardless of what the circumstances are. So if you're the sixth quarterback or the first quarterback, if you're the top draft pick like Isaiah Land is going to be for us next season, or if you're the scout team defensive end, right? Your job is to try your very best every day to work as hard as you can, give it everything you have from Mother FAMU, and that's how you become successful in life. So again, if we're short-sighted and all we think about is football and starting for the Rattlers, then we're missing the mark. Right. My job is to prepare myself to be the best man, the best husband, the best father that I can be. And the only way to do that is to give it my all every day, regardless of what's in front of me. Because for most of these guys, and I tell them all the time, your first job, you're probably not going to be the CEO, right? Your first job may be in the copy room. Well, you can't say that I'm going to start working hard once I own this company, right? You have to start off in the copy room, working your butt off, and take that same drive, that same work ethic, that same attention to detail. And then when you become the boss, it's already ingrained in you. And that's the approach that I took. I wasn't always a head coach. I was a grad assistant first. And everyone knows that is not a glorious position. But in my mind, I was already a head coach. And so I came to work every day as a grad assistant, whether it was making cut-ups, whether it was taking the coach's jacket to the cleaners, or picking up or taking his car to get washed. I did it with the attitude that this is going to prepare me to be a head coach one day. And for those guys, if they're number 6 on the depth chart, working hard every day is going to prepare you to eventually be the starter, or better yet, be a professional one day in life. And that's the message that we convey to all of our guys, not just the quarterbacks. And I think most of our guys, if not all of them, understand that, and that's why you see them work so hard every day.
Well said. Well said. Kofi, Kelvin, any final things that you want to ask the coach before we let him go to bed tonight?
Absolutely. Coach, I want you to talk about on the offensive side, you've got a lot of new faces in terms of your staff. Kind of talk about Coach Henry coming back and then also at the Orange and Green game, you had over 100 around 150 recruits there. And you of, of of all levels of skill. And Coach Rez, he killing it, man. But just kind of talk about one, the changes on your coaching staff, then two, the recruits being exposed to the FAMU brand in your program.
Yeah, no doubt. One caveat or downside to having a winning program is that people are going to try to pluck good coaches off your staff. And so every year we've had to replace really good coaches, and this past year was no different. Obviously, Coach Ryan Stanchek, co-offensive coordinator and offensive line coach, left and took an opportunity at Austin Peay. Coach Shane Tucker, our running backs coach, left and went back to his alma mater, Middle Tennessee State, as a wide receivers coach. And then, KJ got a phenomenal opportunity to go and work for the Los Angeles Rams. And so that left a huge void on offense where you had to fill three positions. And so, fortunately for us, Coach Henry had been with the program. He was with us at Prairie View for 3 years. He was with us in 2018 as the running backs coach at FAM. So he's familiar with me, familiar with the program, how we do things. And he went off and left us and began to work in the offensive line room, which is a passion of his. And so we had an offensive line job. We interviewed 7 candidates, and he was by far the best one of the 7 in our opinion. And because he's familiar with what we do and how we do it, it was just a perfect marriage. So he came back in the same role as Coach Stanchek, co-offensive coordinator and offensive line coach. And then once KJ took the job at the Rams, it was a natural transition to just give him the sole coordinator title. And he does a phenomenal job organizing things and just, being a guy that I can lean on heavily during the week and during games. So he's definitely going to be an asset, very, very thorough individual, and we're glad to have him back. And, obviously having to replace Coach Tucker, we did another thorough interview process and was fortunate enough to bring Marcus Wyndham in from Delta State. He's a Mississippi born and bred guy from the Delta. Again, has been around it a very long time. Has coached at the JUCO level, Division II level, even coached in Black College up in North Carolina Central. So again, he has familiarity with the league, with the MEAC, and I can tell right now that he's a dynamic coach for us. And again, excited to see what he brings to the table. And then lastly, having to replace KJ was probably my toughest challenge because I didn't know which direction I wanted to go in. KJ had been with me so long, he knew our offense, just as well as I do in many senses, even though it's, this offense that I put together. But, him leaving, I felt left a huge void in that room because, one, bringing a guy in who doesn't necessarily know our system, could they really pick it up and teach it the way that I wanted to communicate it, and after spending time with those guys, seeing how they responded to the way that I worded things, the way that I taught it, I just saw kind of the Masters Road experience, opening of the heavens for them, so to speak, and just their overall knowledge of what we do, and more so the whys, not the what's and the hows, because KJ did an amazing job with that, but just being able to talk to them about the whys. Why would I call this play against this defense in this situation? And now you start to see the wheels turning. Guys like Rashawn, and even Jeremy, who's already a very, very smart guy. And so after, dealing with that and talking to some of my contemporaries in the profession, I felt it was best that I'd take the position myself. So I took the quarterbacks. I'll coach them this year. And we brought in a special teams coordinator. So Chili Davis is a young man who, who has a lot of experience. Was at New Mexico State as special teams coordinator. Then left there and went to the University of Washington this past season with Coach Jimmy Lake and his staff. And once that staff was let go, he had just gotten on with Grambling as their special teams coordinator. And so, it really felt good to bring him home, obviously to pull one off of a rival. But again, just a guy that has a lot of special teams experience. I felt that was an area that I don't want to say underachieved, but with a guy like Fadul, guy like Jose Romo Martinez, Jamari Shareed, we have 3 of the most dynamic special teams players in the country. And with the size and speed we have across the board, I just feel that that's an area that we can completely dominate if we devote the right amount of attention to it, and having a guy that his sole responsibility is overseeing the special teams, I think will make us a much more dynamic football team. So we made that decision. We're excited about him getting here in another week or so, and we'll be complete. And then off the field, obviously recruiting is the blood of any program, the lifeblood of any program. And so bringing in Coach Riz and uh, just his contacts. There's not a recruit from Washington to to the Bahamas that Coach Riz can't touch. And the case in point, when we decided to have a junior day, and the coaches started to contact guys and try to invite them, we had 9 guys that were pre-registered. I made Devin the recruiting coordinator. In 2 days, that number had risen to 150 in just 2 days. And we end up capping that number at 150 because we said if we open it up anymore, we're going to have 300 kids on campus, and we cannot entertain 300 kids on a spring game day. And so just his job, I mean, if you see the amount of young men who come through that building on a daily basis, it's phenomenal. And so he's a gem. He's a diamond in the rough for us, and I think he's going to be a guy that really, really sets this program on higher heights because of his influence and the caliber of young men that he's bringing to campus. Not the fact that he's just getting guys to campus. It's you look up and here's a 4-star here, here's a 5-star here, here's a 3-star here, and that's a testament to the job that he does. And then Miss Kendall Perry, being our own campus recruiter, organizing those official visits, unofficial visits when they get there. Again, just has helped us out so much. And so, huge shout out to the staff, the support staff. Finally, we're getting to a place where we have people in the right places that can take pressure off of me as a head coach, our assistant coaches, to just really focus on coaching, development, and those things. And I think that's going to really bode well for us, really now and in the near future.
Nice. Kofi, close it out with Coach.
But Coach, yeah, just your eye for talent is absolutely amazing, man. The way you're able to assemble and get people into that next man up mentality and get people and fill those positions. I want to ask this question on behalf of Rattler Nation because, we want to get excited about the season. Last year, I know that the uniforms, obviously, we went with the base colors with the orange and the green. And we didn't really necessarily have that whole LeBron uniform thing. So are there any new surprises that are coming with the uniforms in the fall? Is there anything that Rattler Nation has to look forward to in terms of color schemes?
Well, we still have some color schemes that we haven't gotten to. When you have a full set of orange, green, and white, and then 2 different color helmets, we can. I think we have up to, if I did my calculations right, I think we were 18 uniform combinations that we can wear. And so obviously we played 12 games last year. We didn't repeat a combination. So there's still some combinations that we haven't worn. As a matter of fact, there was a young man on campus a couple of days ago, big 6'3", 4-star receiver, and he came out with the uniform combination on, and I said, "Have we worn that?" And they said, "No." I said, "We have to." I don't know if it was the fact that he's a 6'3", 190-pound receiver, but it looked really, really good on him. So
Nice.
There are some color schemes that we still haven't pulled out yet. But as far as the LeBron James deal, from my understanding, they're still in the production phase of a football division, right? LeBron doesn't. It's not like Jordan just yet, where there's a basketball and football division. Right now, it's solely basketball. They're slowly transitioning to a football division. Obviously, with COVID, there are a lot of supply chain shortages and all those type of things. So we feel confident that in 23 we will be outfitted head to toe in LeBron James uniforms, just like the basketball team. There is a plan to have LeBron James shoes that may debut sometime this year. Can't promise that. But again, the Nike partnership that we have is an exclusive deal, and so our uniforms are the same quality, same material as all of the other elite schools. Same as North Carolina, Oregon, Texas, all those schools, and so that's why young men who come to campus are really, really impressed with our uniforms because when they put them on, it doesn't feel any different, right? Well, it feels different because they're in that orange and green, so a little bit feels a little different, but the material is the same material as the other elite programs that they've all gone to. So, again, but we have fun with the uniform combinations. It may be something that we might let the fans get involved in one day. Maybe do some raffles or something to see if they can pick a combination that they want to see for the 5 home games this year and even some of the road games. But we're excited about this season. Great things in store for us, and I think it's going to be a season that Rattler Nation will be very proud of, and that we'll remember for a very long time.
How about Coach?
Well said, Coach. The countdown to August 27th has begun. We are officially on the clock. And Coach, you've been gracious with your time. Congratulations to you and everybody for a great spring game. I hope you get a chance to get a little bit of rest and relaxation in before you start your summer session or whatever it is that you have planned for the summer. And I'm sure we'll see you at SWAC Media Day if we don't talk before then.
Well, most people know that between Shiloh, Raylan, aka Champ, and Truth, I won't be getting much rest. They'll keep me going, keep me up most nights. But again, it's definitely good to be able to finally be able to spend some time with them, being the spring ball is over. So we're preparing for recruiting. We'll hit the road recruiting here in May and try to get throughout the state and surrounding areas. So it's nonstop. Football is a year-round sport. And it's practice, recruiting, camps. Then you're back in the training camp before you know it. So we're excited again, and that comes along the territory. But Rattler Nation, you guys get some rest because we're definitely going to need you all this fall to go to Chapel Hill, to come down to Miami, to meet us in Montgomery, to travel up to Grambling, Louisiana, and of course to pack Bragg every Saturday we're here. So again, this is going to be a special season. And we need everyone who loves FAMU and loves FAMU football to be right there with us every step of the way.
Absolutely.
Well said, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the coach.
The dog coming,
Coach. It's time to go.
Coming.
All right, Coach.
The dog is coming.
The
dog is coming to the game.
Who let the dogs out? All right, Coach. Take care.
All right, it's time to go. All right.
All right. That was head coach Willie Simmons, man. I love it. That was great timing. Great timing, man. Hope you guys enjoyed that conversation. I appreciate you guys for all your questions and comments via email or on the chat. We appreciate you for bringing that home. All right, guys. Any final thoughts or any final takes that you want to get in before we close up the show, Kelvin?
Yeah, I want to talk about the ticket packages are out. So everybody make sure you pay attention to those timelines for those investing in champions. The date to remember, you have to have them paid in full by June 30th, or else your inventory will be released. They do have season ticket packages. I think I saw starting at $200. We have 5 home games, and then I think it was like $245 for the box seats. So anyway, it's all on FAMUathletics.com. So make sure that you pay attention to that and start getting prepared for the fall.
Well said. Kofi, any final thoughts or anything you want to mention?
Yeah, absolutely. Just along that line, when we had a losing team, we set a record with season ticket sales. So now that we've had back-to-back 92 seasons, we've really got an opportunity to go above and beyond to set this team up for great success. I want to say sustained success. I understand a lot of times when there is change, there are people, especially our old school Rattlers, we can be quite militant anytime there's something different. But let's not be that way. Let's try to find a way to be as cooperative as possible so that this transition can be as seamless as possible with the least amount of resistance and difficulty. There's going to be change. But, let's make this shift as seamless because there's an opportunity for us to be set up for, again, sustained success. And we want to keep this momentum going. I want to also say, just in regards to the O&G StrikeZone, we're grateful for each and every one of you. But our goal by September is to be up to 100 every time that we're on, at least 100 every time that we're on. I believe we had over 50. I think our largest number was around 70, 75. But I believe that we can get up to 100 consistently. So I want everybody that is watching us at this time to tell a neighbor, tell a friend. We're going to turn this thing up and looking forward. And if you have any suggestion for us, please go ahead and put it in our inboxes so that we can give you the best quality content that we possibly can. And I'm looking forward to a great year. And I'm excited, man. Let's go.
Let's go. Well said, Kofi. Well said. And same to you, Kelvin. A lot of interesting information out there on the season ticket packages. A great plea to all of you out there to make sure to get on board. I am super excited about this season. You guys out there in social media, you guys do a great job on the chatter. There's a reason why we continue to frustrate other people in the SWAT. Put it like that. So with that said, can keep spreading the love. Let people know about this show. You can always find our show in the podcast form, BCSN Pod Zone. If you missed any portions of this show, obviously you can go back and watch it on YouTube. You can go back and watch it on Facebook, or you can download the BCSN Pod Zone any and everywhere you download and listen to podcasts. Share this show with a friend. Remind somebody. We keep breaking the doors and meeting new people, and that's great. Every time we go back to Tallahassee, we meet somebody new who's watched the show, who enjoys what we're doing, and that's what makes it rewarding for us. And then, of course, the great coaches and players that we get a chance to talk to. We're probably 3 weeks away from the draft. Hopefully we can get some guys in here and get a chance to talk to them, like Marquise. I know I talked to Savion. Hopefully we can reconnect again. I can get Savion in here. But, their opportunity to get drafted, which is just one more thing that will continue to be a part of this brand and grow. And so, yes, the more momentum, the better. So lots to talk about. So thank you for following us, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at O&G StrikeZone. Go download the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. MyJBN and MyBCSN is where you can find us on the Google or Apple Play Store. And that's going to do it for this show. For our producer, Melody Lucas in the background, and Kofi Hemingway, Kelvin Roser, I'm Brian Fulford. Rattler Nation, be safe, be smart, have fun. Everyone have a blessed and happy Easter weekend. And don't forget, when you're out there, make sure to strike, and strike again. All right, Rattler Nation, peace out.
Oh,